All right, welcome back to Sunrise. Thank you so much for staying with us right here. It is 6:17 on this lovely Friday morning, which means it is time for the morning headlines with our girl, T to the K.
Hey,
it's a Friday. With TK.
The last person I've seen. Hi, Yendi.
Hi,
Good
Teeks.
morning.
It's great to see you and your bob.
What can I say?
Oh.
Your hair look nice,
Thank
you.
you.
Look good. You look good, girl. I don't know, but you look really nice.
It takes one to know one.
I like you.
Yeah. Curly bobs unite. You better get him a shake.
And it not shake, Yendi.
Oh.
It not shake, Yendi. We work on it. We work on it. So great morning to you, and especially those of you on YouTube. You know you are peeps, and in our WhatsApp community. Good morning. Let's jump into the headlines. You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So World Bank backs funding for Jamaica's skilled labor export. As the global demand for skilled labor intensifies, the World Bank is calling on countries that recruit Jamaican professionals to contribute financially to the country's training and human capital development. Lead economist at the World Bank, Pablo Acosta, made the appeal during the release of the bank's latest report titled Exploiting the Brain Gain Potential for Better Human Capital Outcomes in Jamaica, stating that the trend, commonly referred to as brain drain, has taken a heavy toll on critical sectors like health and education. The World Bank says global skills partnerships can create a more sustainable labor pipeline, reduce the economic burden of immigration, and empower Jamaica to negotiate fairer terms in global labor markets. So, interesting.
I think this is very interesting. I think it's always critically important to have investment in certain sectors, right? And this is one that is, it's an unusual investment because you're actually investing in the people. And so, go ahead.
Have they invested, or they're suggesting?
Well, it's a suggestion based on the report.
Right. So what people are accustomed to is investing in the tangible, right? You're investing in an item and a commodity that you can hold, you can touch, you can experience yourself. But what's interesting is to hear how they're referring to labor and to hear the necessity to invest in the labor is critically important for, yes, us, who are experiencing the brain drain, but it also begs the question, and I hate to be this person, but I'm going to be this person, it also is important to them, because if you dry up the pipeline, you don't keep getting people coming into the pipeline. So it's a win for us in terms of the investment in our people, yes, but let's not be naive to say it's also not a win for them.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win.
It would be a win-win. It's also interesting, you know. I think it's such a great thing to do.
Yeah.
And I hesitate to say this, but it doesn't have to be done. Meaning, if I'm, for example, I am hiring people from a country and they keep coming and they're doing great work in my country and I'm benefiting in my country, I can just say, well, if your country suffering a few business, that's, I don't, so I like the fact that they're saying, listen, it's having these ramifications. I know we're getting these benefits, but it is having these ramifications in the country. Let us put our money where our mouth is. Let us invest back into the people. Let us invest back into the country.
So we can continue to recruit.
So we can continue to recruit. Okay, Yendi. I see what you're doing there.
But I'm not mad at it either.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at
win-win.
the
It
investment.
benefits, listen, if you're going to exploit someone, at least let us benefit.
And then obviously with the restructuring of our own pays and our own salaries and offerings as well, it then now creates a more competitive environment in that you have a wider qualified set of people who now have a choice whether they want to go away to work or stay home and build. So the option is also there, but people are now qualified and have the option. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
I want to emphasize the positive side of it. I mean, from our perspective, the fact that they're recommending an investment in the country, by the country, that's benefiting from our brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to shift on that side and rest there, because for me, I mean, I know a lot of persons who left, especially in the education sector, because there are better opportunities elsewhere. So if the elsewhere can invest in us to train persons in the same sector, then, you know.
What's interesting is, as you mentioned, the education sector, I saw this massive discussion yesterday on X, which is formerly Twitter, where someone actually spoke about the base salary for a teacher, and somebody went, wait, what? That's the base salary for a teacher? And somebody commented and said, if that was my base salary, I wouldn't have left when I left 5 years ago. And I was like, huh. So again, it just makes it all the more interesting when we invest in our labor forces, when we invest in human capacity and capabilities, what happens then going forward when the markets are competitive? Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, speaking of investment, that takes us to headline numero dos. KPH operating theatres to reopen after mold remediation. So we had talked about this on Wednesday, I believe it was.
Yes.
So 4 major operating theatres at the Kingston Public Hospital, the KPH, are set to reopen next week following extensive mold removal and infrastructural upgrades totaling $24 million. The renovations were overseen by the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, after air quality concerns forced the temporary closure of the theatres earlier this year. With these improvements, the hospital is now better equipped to deliver high-quality surgical care to the public.
Yeah, that's good news. You know, I remember when we discussed it, I did not know. I don't think we reported that they were closed. So I'm happy to hear the other side that they are now opened. And you talk about sectors. I said it on Wednesday, I'm saying it again. I mean, you don't want to play with the health sector at all, particularly Kingston Public Hospital, who houses some of the best trained doctors. You know, I discovered recently, sadly though, that the neurosurgeons at KPH, not at some hospitals, you know. So if you have an injury in the brain, that's where you want to go. Of course, you know, for a long time, and it still is the case where that's the place to go for certain equipment and for certain specialist doctors. So I'm happy to hear that those, because he said on Wednesday that if we continue to experience this challenge with molds, then we will have a complete shutdown. Which is
everywhere at KPH, which would be...
That's frightening.
Jamaica wouldn't be able to function.
No, because there's no other facility that could manage that load. You know?
Right.
I think that the KPH is a critically important institution, as we just mentioned, right? I also think that these things do happen just from a perspective of time, wear and tear, maintenance. I'm grateful that they're back up and running. I also know people who had surgeries during the time when these 4 were shut down. So it's not that surgeries were not happening, but obviously you have limited space. I will say, though, that what I would love to see more of is a more steady upkeep versus a need for things get to an extreme end and then a shutdown is required and this type of
like a major renovation,
overhauling
upgrade,
This is my concern, because I feel like we don't have to ever wait until it gets so bad. Let's steadily maintain the thing. And I will also say, as someone who experienced this with my mother, my mother unfortunately experienced sepsis in her...
My brother too.
Right.
And he didn't come back.
Same with my mom. And so I say this to say, our doctors are fantastic. They're equipped, they're capable. I even think that a lot of the leadership is equipped and capable. But
and the nurses and other professionals as well.
Listen,
let's talk about it.
It's not for a lack of ability. It's not for a lack of knowledge. It's not for a lack of skill. But I feel like infrastructurally, we have a lot more work to do in the health sector, and that directly impacts the quality of service and care that people experience, and we have to fix that.
I agree. 100%.
This is the year of fixing.
100%.
Highlighting these things, you know.
I don't think it's our 1 year in IT. I don't think it's our 1 year, but I like your optimism. But that's what I have for you in the headlines, and I'll see you at 7 a.m. for the news.
Okay, TK.
All right, Sunrise fam, it's time to hit play on some videos. When we come back, we're going to be looking at them viral moments. So please stay with us right here on Sunrise. Come back after the break.